Hello, class. I just want to apologize first for the late delivery of my technique demonstration. Um, I have been just experienced a series of traumatic events myself within the past 2 weeks of death within my family. So it's just been a difficult, ending of the semester. So I'm trying to get through this the best way I can. My technique demonstration I had chose for the presentation is EMDR therapy. So EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a non-traditional therapy which is used to overcome stress and stressful experiences. I have never heard of this therapy. As I was trying to research some non-traditional therapies, I came across this one. It's kind of fairly new within the past few years or whatever. Me, it seems like something that I will be open and willing to try or whatever. But I would just like to go over what I had found and researched about eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. So this therapy, who will use this? Who will use this technique? Individuals who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder and trauma. And as we've been learning in our class or whatever through the materials and the readings that we've been reading, PTSD is definitely is big. I know that the trauma that I am, well, me and my group that we are covering is combat trauma, and everybody knows that soldiers, they definitely suffer from PTSD. It's just a known fact for years. I know my father, he was a Vietnam War veteran when he was living, and he definitely suffered from PTSD a great deal or whatever. So as we know, PTSD is very big and widespread. So this technique is beneficial for individuals who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder and trauma. The goal of this technique, it says, is to gain freedom and to move past any painful and uncomfortable experiences, as well as any distressing thoughts and feelings. So we all know with trauma, we also we try to move forward with it, but we do have to remember with trauma, the goal is not to forget the trauma, is to learn through therapy how to deal with the trauma, but it's never to forget. So, it's painful as these experiences that we go through, these traumatic experiences. I don't know if anyone, I can't say I don't know if any of you have experienced, because we have all experienced. I know we have all experienced some kind of trauma on different levels. I know myself, I had experienced trauma a great deal. I have been attending trauma therapy myself for the past 10 years. So what I do know is the goal is never to forget the trauma. It's all about, working through the trauma and different techniques and ways and therapies to help us move past or whatever, and get through or whatever, but never to forget. Excuse me. So what does this technique look like? So when I was doing my research, they said no one really can explain how it works because it's, inside your brain, but it's, I believe or whatever, or what I have researched or whatever, it's when you have signed up for this treatment or this technique, and you sit with the therapist, you concentrate on a problem or issue that you have, and then move your eyes by following a stick, a light, or a finger. So if you want to do this with me or whatever, you can just sit down where you're sitting at And if you want to, if you have another individual in front of you that can do this with you, because that would be the role of the therapist. And basically they would just move the stick, the light, or the finger, and you would just follow that with your eyes or whatever, while concentrating on the problem or the issue that you are having. So you're concentrating on that, and then you're moving. Your eye movement is following, not your head. Your eye is following the stick, the light, or the finger while you're concentrating on this problem. And that basically is what the session involves when you're sitting with the therapist or whatever. Yeah, so after all of that or whatever, an assessment is made or whatever. And after the therapist has sat down with you and you have identified the issue and the problem and followed her finger or light or whatever mechanism she has chosen to use, or he or she has chosen to use with you, the therapist, assesses you. And then after the assessment, the client, identifies some positive thoughts and rates the positive thoughts from 0 to 10 on how they are feeling. The client then focuses on the image and the negative thoughts and how their body felt while moving the eyes back and forth, following the therapist's finger. So you first identify, you concentrate on the issue and the problem. You then identify some positive thoughts and feelings, and you rate it from 0 to 10. And then you also focus on the image and a negative thought and how your body felt while you were following the therapist's fingers back and forth or whatever. How did your body feel as a whole while you were concentrating on that issue or whatever? And then the client is instructed to notice whatever happens and let their mind go blank. And then just notice the thoughts, the feelings, the images and memories or sensations that come to mind. So I believe that's like a whole process. I believe each session, from doing research, the session should be about about 40 minutes or whatever, to process what you're feeling. Because first, while you're concentrating initially on the main issue, why you came to see the therapist, the main problem or issue, and you're concentrating on that and following the light or the pen or whatever she chooses to use, that takes a lot. That can take a lot out of you, because so many, I could just think of plenty traumatic experiences that I have been through the death of my parents and stuff. So if I chose to focus on that issue while working with the therapist, I can just imagine so many feelings like overcoming my body or whatever while I'm following that pen or while I'm following that light or whatever that would come to mind or whatever. And then thinking of, good things that I would think of, like good things. I have a 7-year-old son, so that those are good things that I would think of. I would think of him, or in the times we spend together or whatever. So that would definitely be a positive thought. And then just to let the mind go blank and clear and think of nothing else, and then allowing your body to just process all of that. I believe this technique is beneficial and could work or whatever. I'm no therapist. I mean, none of us are therapists, even though we're in school trying to become one. But I definitely put faith in inside of I definitely put faith inside of this technique. I don't see where as though I'm willing to give anything a try or whatever. But basically, this is something new or whatever that came about, I want to say back in the 90s, I recall. In my write-up, I have the exact date of when it was developed. So you can definitely check that out, or whatever what I mentioned in the write-up. The write-up is more intense, but this is, more to show you of the technique and how the technique is done. Thank you for bearing with me, and good luck to everyone.